Time Travel, written by LeFrenchChemist. I was tasked to go back and stop our mistake. Time travel was achieved in the year 7538. Many countries have worked together to accomplish this feat, and since then, the whole world has been tuned in to the discoveries we've made visiting our past. The first mission sent a group back to the year 2000. We returned with a newspaper, which highlighted the new century and Y2K. We don't use paper anymore, but the world rejoiced over our success, and each household wanted their very own newspaper copy, which celebrated that triumph over Y2K more than 2,000 years ago. 6 months have passed since that first mission, and we have continued to go further back in time to learn about the origin of our species. We had finally come closer to understanding how our universe formed, and a better idea on how our universe operates. But we hit a problem. For some reason, we could no longer travel back any further. Our last trip was 6 billion years into the past. We couldn't go beyond that. This saddened researchers immensely. Yet focus was shifted to exploring working within the 6 billion year time frame. Problems continued still, however, as we could not travel back in the past anymore, it seemed. We worked on the machine to see why it wasn't working. At the same time, a team of theoretical physicists had continued to refine our understanding of time travel with each trip made, but their most recent discovery shocked the world. They predicted using the time machine required us to deplete the time we had left in the universe. This was why we could no longer travel so far back. We decided that we needed to go back in time to warn ourselves of this grave mistake in our last hopes to make it right. I was tasked to go back and stop our mistake. That was 8 months ago, when our mission to go back to our first use of the time machine failed. We could no longer undo the damage. Tomorrow marks the predicted final day of our universe. No one knows what to expect. But if our rules of time travel are correct, we used up around 100 billion years this universe had left in less than a year. Curiosity really is a bitch.
The Grandfather Paradox, written by NinjaGal15. Time travel. Finally, we'd achieved it. What happens if I go back in time and kill my grandfather? I had asked my professor, who I had assisted in theoretical physical research. The professor took a drag from his cigarette. "The fuck's wrong with you? Why would you do that?" Fair point. Still, I had to know. How would a paradox play out in real life? Which is why I snuck into the lab that night, went backwards in time, and hunted my grandfather for sport. In my defense, he was an awful man. He was secretly abusive to my mother when she was growing up, but openly abusive to my grandmother. The world would be better without him, and I would get to see firsthand what happened to a paradox in the real world. Classic win-win. Everything went dark as soon as the last spurt of blood left his throat. A quick slashed throat was better than what he deserved, but I wasn't cruel. I glanced around. It was pitch black, except for a small light in the distance. Curious, I walked toward it. A man stood still, holding a lantern. "Ah, our newest member," the man grinned. "You should know. A paradox occurred in time and space, and a relative of yours was killed. This means you will never exist and—" "Yeah, I get it," I replied. "I'm the one that killed him." The man's grin dropped immediately. You? Why would you do that? To see what would happen. It sounded stupid, especially in this weird void, but it was the truth. So, what happens next? Well, you may have noticed some part of you still exists, right? I nodded. Normally this happens from collateral damage, so we comfort them until we can recycle them. Recycle? I asked, my curiosity piquing. The strange man nodded. An infant that should have died at birth, or a miscarriage. We go in and edit that, replacing the deceased body with a new soul. Kind of like reincarnation. That was kind of comforting. So how long before I get recycled? I had so many questions. Would I remember my old life? Would I still be me? I found I didn't really care. My life wasn't valuable to me. I don't think I would care if it ended. And I forgot all about it. Surprisingly, the old man scowled. You? No. You are the cause of the paradox. We can't send you back. Anyone else impacted by your paradox will get recycled. You'll just be left alone. As he finished, the lantern extinguished, surrounding me with darkness. Wait, left alone? I couldn't see him, but I felt him fade away. For how long? I never got my answer. I didn't really care if my life ended, but now it looks like it'll just go on forever. In the dark emptiness that is this void.